It's a mock draft, a 12-team, 9-category. Well, maybe it's a 12-team, 9-category head-to-head mock draft. We're going to be drafting from every position moving forward over the next couple of days. Michael Bolton, get strapped in. Maybe it's pick 6, 7.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the snake to your mongoose, or the mongoose to your snake. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms. This is about that time where we do a mock draft from every position. So we're doing it. Now, normally I would start at pick 1, or I'd start at pick 14 and work my way back, but I think I've done both directions the last 2 years, so I wanted to do it a little bit differently today. So I don't know what position I'm going to do here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the random wheel of picking to pick it for me. So let's go in and see. It is going to be a 9-category head-to-head league. Let's see, is it a 12-team league, or are we going to go out to 14? Let's click the spinny wheel thing and see what happens. I don't really know what I want to pick here. Maybe I'd like to go at number 2. Let's see what it comes up as. Oh, it would have been so annoying if it had ended on 12 anyway. Pick 11. All right, pick 11. W. That is where we are picking from in this mock draft. Now, what I'm also going to be doing in these drafts is going on the current ADP and selecting the player that is sitting at that spot at the moment on Yahoo's ADP. Because it could be a situation like I could pick a 12 or 11 or 10 or 13 or 9, and it's the same guy that's available to me in all those spots. So I just do 6 drafts in a row where I'm taking Kevin Durant, for example. And I don't think that's very good. I don't think that's that useful. So basically it's going to be, let's look at the top 14 guys in ADP and let's build a team out using that player. So if I look at who's 11th in ADP at the moment, now this player has an ADP of 12 because that's how averages work and all that sort of stuff. But there are 10 other players ahead of him, so he is the 11th ranked player at the moment on ADP. It's Rayford Young. So we're going to do a Trae Young mock draft here. He's sitting in that 11 slot, so we might as well get into it. While we're waiting for this draft to start, today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth. It might be 401ks and properties, investments. When you have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money, the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. It's built for people with busy lives. So if you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, so you can link all of your accounts together in minutes. See the clear data visuals, get the smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONNBA. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is here to give you a great offer. You don't want to miss this one. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and you get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. One of the best things on the app is looking at all the future markets, testing your long-term prognostication skills, or maybe it's in-game. You want to look at some live betting trends, same-game parlays, player props. It's all there, and you can use all your bonus bets on it. So, what are you waiting for? Go to FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We are just about to head into this draft room, so might as well go in there now and get it cracking. We are 40 seconds away. I am, like I said, picking at number 11, and I am selecting Trae Young at number 11. Now, according to my Durant ranking metrics, which is something that I have been working on the last few years, and I feel like has a lot more relevance than a ranking that would tell you that Matisse Thybulle was ranked 90th and Paolo Banchero was 131st, while Giannis was outside the top 50. It does not have Trae ranked as a first-round player. It has him around 20. That is because of the way that stats are distributed in the NBA and some of the variance associated with high free throw percentage and volume and that sort of stuff. So, all right. Let's get this draft started. So yeah, look, I don't mind if you take Trae in the first round if that's what you wanted to do, but he's not projecting in that spot for me. Jokic, Wemby, easy stuff. The first 2 picks, it's going to be Shea or Luka. I'm guessing Shea at 3, it'll be Luka 4. Used today from Shams Charania that the Knicks were interested in a Giannis trade. This Giannis stuff just is not going away, and it's not fake. Giannis goes at 4, interestingly enough. Doncic goes at 5. It's not fake in terms of there is concern about Giannis's, I guess, desire to stay long-term in Milwaukee, but I don't think we'll get an in-season trade. After Doncic goes Anthony Edwards and then James Harden, I am a little surprised to see Jimmy popping ahead of Cade. I don't really see that happen very often. I'm not going to be completely hateful on that. I have a little concern on Ty Lue's comments on Harden workload reduction, but I'm not. Sometimes coaches say this stuff and it doesn't really transpire that way. So after Cade at 8, Anthony Davis went at 9, Devin Booker went at 10, and that means that I will come in and take Trae Young at 11. No problem with I have Booker ahead of Trae. Davis to me in the first round is a little risky given his injuries and some of my concern with him playing a little bit out of position. But when we're talking about this back-end first round sort of zone, I don't think that much of that stuff is really off limits. Now, I don't like Karl Anthony Towns at number 12, but if this guy wants Towns and wants to build a team around Towns, he's not going to get him back in round 3, is he? He's got to take him at 12 or 13. But I do think that Mike Brown's arrival and Mitchell Robinson starting, which is almost certainly going to be the case, will impact that. Now, let's concentrate on what I'm doing. Tyrese Maxey goes next. To me, this one feels... I know I've just taken Trae Young, but I got to take Kevin Durant there. Kevin Durant or Steph were looking pretty obvious to me as selections in that spot, so I'm very happy to get KD at 14. I would consider KD above Towns, above Maxey, honestly, possibly above Davis. So I'm very happy to get KD in that spot. Now, we wait. I'm not doing third round reversal in these drafts because I do want them to mirror as much as possible a sort of standard format. That's why I'm using Yahoo ADP as the order for my picks in terms of who I picked first. Then that's why I have gone to 14 rounds because I just think that's a little bit fairer. But third round reversal is not an easy setup to do on Yahoo or ESPN. It is doable, but it requires a lot of commish manipulation. I don't know why these insanely bad provider sites don't even have it as an option. Invest your time inventing high score instead of putting third round reversal or adjustable playoff weeks, more adjustable playoff weeks, or two-week playoff matchups, whatever. Just do it, man. Doesn't matter. Steph Curry goes after Durant, like that pick from you, Alperen Şengün. Amen Thompson, Jalen Johnson, Domantas Sabonis, and while I'm not a big Sabonis guy in the turn, in the middle of the round, whatever. If that's what you want to do it. Again, to me, he's more of a third round player. There are a lot of issues, I think, with his game, and I do worry somewhat about usage distribution this season. But I much prefer taking him there than taking him at 12 or 13, and I like the fact that Jalen Johnson and Amen Thompson went ahead of Domantas Sabonis. After Sabonis is Evan Mobley. This is where we get to the stage where my top players in terms of projections per game are all the injured guys. Embiid, Kawhi, LaMelo, Zion. And yeah, I have Zion projected really high for a head-to-head format. Really high. Won't take him that high, but I actually think we're going to get some really big Zion stuff going this year. So after Mobley goes Şengün. Then it is the Bronco Jalen Williams, who I'd be a little concerned about the wrist and maybe some shooting inefficiency early in the season. Josh Giddey at that pick, number 22, I love that. I love getting Giddey there. I know people think that I'm wrong on Giddey, and maybe I am. But again, a reminder, I am not basing any of this on Josh Giddey shooting 45% from 3. It's all based on him shooting 37% from 3. And there's this idea that Josh Giddey forces you to be a punt free throw team or a punt threes team. Last season, 78 from the line, the year before 80. Last season, in 30 minutes, 1.5 threes. That does not mean you punted those categories like even remotely close to it. After Giddey goes Donovan Mitchell, who I think will look like he's worth that pick early in the season. And I do think when you hit January and and Garland is back and fully ramped up, that Mitchell will look more like a third-round player. After Mitchell goes Scott Barnes to end round 2, and I think that is a pretty reasonable pick. Now, again, there's just a lot of injured guys here. Embiid, Zion, Kawhi, LaMelo, Hero, Porzingis, Morant. These are the guys that I have projected around this area, in terms of per-game numbers that I'm obviously not taking around that spot. LeBron goes at 25, and yeah, I don't mind him there. He's got this arse irritation going at the moment. He's got a lot of Hennessy cracking on at the moment. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't mind getting LeBron. I definitely don't want to rely upon it. After Bam goes Cooper Flag. So I took one preseason game for Cooper Flag to go inside the top 30. I do predict that there will be drafts where he's inside the second round in the next week or so. I think he's going to be a very awesome fantasy player very, very quickly. I don't think I would do it that quickly. I took him in one of my real leagues, and I just wouldn't go that high on it. It is a little aggressive. After Flag at 27 goes Brunson 28. I think, again, Brunson, if you want, I would rather push that 6 or 8 spots back. But also, the top of my board at the moment is filled with a bunch of injury concerns. So I don't mind if you want to push him a little bit higher. I'm just going to throw Jamal Murray into my queue. LaMelo Ball goes there, which could end up at absolutely immense value. I like that one from LaMelo. Well, there goes the headmaster, Jamal Murray. I'm not taking him. Kawhi and Embiid will not go in the top 50 to me. Zion will. Hero won't. Porzingis probably won't. Jaren Jackson was someone I was looking at. I do think that Jaren has a pretty decent shot of starting opening night. We saw Ty Jerome start over Scottie Pippen in place of Morant in the first game. I thought both guys did pretty well in terms of what we want them to do. In terms of minutes, I'd like to see if Jerome starts the next game over Pippen as well. Then we push Jerome a little bit higher. But I do think that once Morant is back, Pippen has more ability to maintain his role versus Jerome. After Jaren Jackson goes Paolo Banchero, which I know some people will say is early, again, because he was the 131st ranked player last season per game. I actually don't have too much of a concern or too much of a problem with him going in this spot. Now we're getting to the stage where I don't really know what I'm going to do. Chet Holmgren just went. What do I do here? So my team is needing some bigs at some point. My steals are horrendous. But who's the big here? I'm not going to take Porzingis here. Yeah, this is a bad spot for big men. What about... Yeah, I like the Reeves pick. I might take... Ooh. I'm going to just take Myles Turner, because I just want to get some blocks in. The next pick that I make, I think it's going to be Avdia. We'll see what happens with this guy, Amite K. This area of the draft for centers is pretty rough. Vooch doesn't help me get blocks. Jakob Poeltl is a little early. There goes Dyson Daniels. I did consider him for a second. Or, is Zion my guy in this next spot? He could be. He's not going to come back to me at 59. 38 is probably not one that I do. Siakam's also an option for me. Well, there goes Trey Murphy. All right. So do I take Denny here? Or do I take Siakam? I think I might... Look, I know I'm going to get Denny in other drafts. I'm going to take Pascal there. Just another forward-eligible player. He's going to help boost those rebounds up a little bit. He's going to help keep my scoring high, which I do want because I've got obviously 2 big scorers early on, and I know that later in drafts, supplementing scoring can be difficult. Zion goes next at 39, so I was right that he wasn't going to last me, and I was probably right to be considering him in that spot. And then Derek White. I think these are fine areas for Derek White. The only reason I wouldn't be super investing myself in Derek White or Jaylen Brown is I do think that Boston's going to be pretty bad. And I know people will say they'll be good enough to be a play-in team in the East. Have a look at their big men. I just beg you. They're going to start Chris Boucher, Sam Hauser, Nemesh Keita, Luka Garza. That's their grouping at the 4-5. That's actually terrible. Right? That is dreadful. So that is some of my concern about them. Well, there goes Denny at 41, Kawhi at 42. interesting. Demetrius Morant goes at 43, who I also think will probably be ready opening night. Brandon Miller's going to go into my queue. I don't think he makes it to me at 59, but if he does, I'd be very happy. And I'd be very happy with Porzingis, who was someone I could have taken in place of Myles Turner, but obviously I have concerns about injuries there. He started over Onyeka Okongwu in the preseason game, so we got that level of, or that data point at least, to see what they're going to do there. Franz Wagner goes off the board at 44, which to me is marginally high. I think it's fine, but it's marginally high. So my team at the moment is we're pretty bad in field goal percentage. Our rebounds and steals need a little bit of work as well. Jalen Duren goes as an auto pick for some reason. Yeah, that's way too early. Oh, holy crap. That is holy crap. What is happening here? Jalen Duren and Mark Williams. These are incredibly early picks. I like Mark Williams. There's a lot of risk there. Jalen Duren I don't like anywhere near that much. Well, all right, fine. Cool. That changes some of the later round center calculus though, because those two guys usually go in Duren's normally in the 60s and Williams in the 70s or 80s, and they're both gone now. Interesting. So a little bit of a different vibe to this draft. Jaylen Brown finishes off round 4, going to pick 48, and then De'Aaron Fox at 49, which I think is the right area here for Fox. Not going to be ready to start the season. Didn't love what I saw from him for the Spurs last season anyway. Is he a 37-minute-a-night guy like in Sacramento, or is he 34? It will be interesting. Desmond Bane. I've seen Desmond Bane go in round 3, which I dislike. Desmond Bane going here I don't love, but it is better. So I think that's fine. And then Tyler Hero at 51. Taking that draft, man. Holy crap. Cooper Flagg in round 3. Mark Williams in round 4. Tyler Hero round 5. I think Hero is like a round 3 player. But he's out for like 2 months maybe. That is it's too early for a guy with a foot surgery. Zach LaVine. You heard me talk about Zach LaVine yesterday. I think LaVine is an efficient scorer. He's very efficient. But I don't think he's worth a pick here. I think that this should be much, much later. You can be one of the most efficient. Someone said, how can you be down on LaVine, one of the most efficient wing scorers in the NBA? All very true. It is true. But I'm not drafting fantasy players based on who the most efficient wing is. I need you to do a few other things. Embiid goes. What else? Well, he's taken LaMelo as well. They're just Porzingis goes. He took Morant. People are going risky here. Morant, Porzingis, Ball, Embiid, Hero and Mark Williams. Wow. All right. Brandon Miller goes. Well, there goes that pick after Kawhi. Yeah, also in the same team that has Kawhi. Not that I'm that worried about Miller and injuries, but a lot of my targets there are gone. Now, I would love to have some sort of update on Kobe White and his calf injury at this stage, but I don't. So I don't think that I will take him. It's probably at pick 59 a little early for Asar Thompson, although 62 will be something to look at. If it's a Zubats, I think this is a very, very fine area for him. I will also, we are seeing just a million centers go. So I'm going to throw Big Jakob Poeltl into the queue, solidify some rebounds, and then get a scorer. What's my pick? Let's take Poeltl. Now, I think there are enough scorers to come back around to me. Like, someone that I will target in this spot is Julius Randle. I mentioned Kobe White. I'm just a little concerned. I'm going to throw Jalen Green into the queue. I'll throw OG into the queue and Julius Randle into the queue. Emmanuel quickly went one pick before, which is somewhat early, but I do think it makes quite a bit of sense. So after Poeltl goes Markkanen, which I know that some people seem to think the Jazz just aren't going to be tanking, and I've got news for them. They will be. They'll be terrible. And part of the worry with Markkanen was not only that he just sat out games, but he was also terrible when he played. There goes Kobe White. Let's look at my squad. Yeah, I think the Randle bump will be very nice for my team here. So let's do the double royal, Julius Randle in that spot. And that is my top 6 players. Young, Durant, Myles Turner, Pascal Siakam, and Julius Randle. So pretty happy with how that team is playing out at the moment, especially from pick 11. Peyton Pritchard goes, and I do like Pritchard in this area. I would like to wait a little bit on him to see if I can get him later because he's not the highest of high priorities, but there's no reason he can't deliver close to that value right there. I'm a little surprised that OG Anunoby is sliding as far as he has. And I expect that Asad Thompson will not make it back to me, but he will be absolutely on my list. Well, there you go. It's literally one pick later at 64. So, we've seen him come in from 100 into the 80s, into the 70s. I think you're going to start to see Asad go in the top 50 pretty soon. So just be aware of that. I think it's going to come in like Alex Sarr. All right. We are seeing a bigger run on centers in this draft. So I wonder what happens with the flyer types, the Caters, the Isaiah Jacksons. Like, how early do they start to go? OG Anunoby goes at 66, he was the top player on my board remaining. So I've got no problem with that. Walker Kessler, also a little surprising to see all of these centers go, and Walker has not yet. 67 from Jordan Poole. Of course, the Jazz stink on him is pretty big. Hartenstein is still around also. And, Jordan Poole just went. I just said that, I think. Jarrett Allen also, not that he is a shot blocker anymore. Darius Garland, I'll put him in the queue. Miles Bridges. Well, there goes Jarrett Allen. I feel like every name I'm saying at the moment is just going as soon as I say it. It really is annoying to me that Zach Edey is injured to start the season because he'd almost be a target in this area, to be honest. I think he would have played 30 minutes a night this year. As much as I don't love him long-term as an NBA starting center, I think that they didn't really have much of a choice. Let's see what Paolo is going to do here because I've been very his picks have been questionable. Ooh, speaking of questionable, Michael Porter Jr.'s podcast opinions. He goes at number 70. And I think he beats that number pretty comfortably per game. I will be very, very interested to see how much he's playing down the stretch. Very interested. And that's why I'd bump him down a little bit lower than that. Kevin Porter Jr. is starting, by the way, for the Bucks. But I will say this. Ryan Rollins looked great. And Kevin Porter's annoying. And he's not a good player. So Glenn Rivers could very easily change his mind a couple of weeks into the season. So while I've got Porter on quite a few teams, I'm fine with getting him in the 80s or 90s. Just don't look at it as a guarantee that Kevin Porter is locked down that job with big minutes. Okongwu is at 72, Jalen Green at 73, both very strong picks. We're a long way away from my pick still, so no point getting too much into what I'm going to do when we get there. The other centers that are available, Donovan Klingon's the other one that's available still, that I think people may start to go with, and Rudy Gobert. It is also a little surprising that DeAndre Ayton is still there. I thought we might get him go off the board around this spot, but not yet. Oh, Cam Thomas. Well, shockingly enough, there goes Ayton. Cam Thomas is going to score. That is true. But much like with Porter, I just don't know how much we can trust the Nets and how much they play him, especially given Thomas's contract situation, which is obviously a concern. There goes Cam Johnson at 76, who's going to be solid. I think his upside is really limited, Cam, on that Denver team, but he'll be solid enough in that area. We are getting to, Miles Bridges to me is going to be an absolute no-brainer to me, or, as much as I'm not a big DeRozan guy this season, this is very DeRozan-y type territory. What is SD Facky doing? I think this is a DeRozan pick here. No, he took Bridges, of course. Of course he did. Will I bother with a Gobert pick? I don't think so. I do want to get my hands on Shaedon Sharpe at some stage, but not yet, because I am worried. Someone told me that Shaedon Sharpe is the Blazers' best player. I don't know about that. But I am hoping we get more out of Shaedon this season. I just hope that they actually give him an opportunity to start. Walker Kessler goes at 80. This should prompt someone to take Donovan Klingon, I'm guessing. Josh Hart at 81. I don't really want to do that. Now, what am I going to do? There goes Tamani Kamara, which is a pretty good pick. I Yikes. What am I going to do here? I think I might take Isaiah Hartenstein. And then maybe we get Shaden Sharp on the flip back. It is early for Sharp, though. It'll be pick 86. Or do I take Matas Buzelis? I just want to get a big scoring bump. And I'm not really sure who is left with 20-point upside. I don't know if anyone's left with 20-point upside. Oh, are you absolutely kidding me, my guy? How do you take Shaden Sharp there? Bruh. Well, I guess that was dumb, wasn't it? I should have just taken Shaden at 83 because I just wanted 20-point upside. Balls. I'm going to go with Matas Buzelis, I think. Watch this dick nose take Buzelis in the next pick. Oh, Christian Brown. Cool. Have him. Kevin Porter. No. Tari Eason. No. Paul George. What pick is this? 86. He's going to miss the season. Start of the season, sorry. Screw it. Let's take George. Oh, just made that last minute switch to George. It could have been Buzelis, could have been Porter, could have been Wiggins. I am a little worried about George, obviously, but I would say, geez, I need some guards here, man. Paul George only listed as a power forward. I need guards, shooting guard and a guard, which I will get with these next few picks. And then Buzelis goes literally the next pick. What is happening with the names that I'm saying here? Draymond Green goes at 88. So we're going to throw Cousin Kev into the queue. There goes Draymond, Brad Beal. I'll throw Mikal Bridges, who's guard eligible, in there as well. Andy Nembhard goes at 90. That's fine. That's fine to me. Norman Powell can jump in the queue. Maybe he's got 20-point upside when it's one of the late picks. Mathurin also maybe is that guy. Just chucking a bunch of guards into the queue. Obviously not all those guys I just put there are guards. So, Rowan Barrett. It looked pretty good for the Raptors yesterday. I do worry about how it all plays out when things are real. But he looked pretty good. I still don't particularly love it at that spot. So what is this SD Faki going to do after he took Miles Bridges in the last round? Naz Reid. You're going to want Naz to start at least 30 games for that to make sense as a pick, I think. It's not a bad pick, don't get me wrong, but I think you're going to want 30 starts. Mikal Bridges, this is good there. I like that. Now we should be getting into the Pajemskis and John Collins, Andrew Wiggins. Well, John Collins would be a good pick if I didn't need guards. There goes Andy Wiggins. So that is annoying. Am I going to get dicked? Maybe. D'Lo at 95. I don't really understand that. Just repairing Cam Thomas and D'Angelo Russell together. I'm not sure that D'Lo's that good even when Kyrie's out, honestly. What we saw is all those centers go, and then it been a little bit of a... there goes Klingon, probably the last one of those reliable enough centers, although John Collins is standing out there. And I'm surprised that no one's taken Simons. Now, for me, I'm worried about Simons, but not everyone is. So I'm surprised no one's gone with Anthony Simons yet, or John Collins, to be honest. I saw some people thinking that John Collins has got top 50 upside. I saw that written somewhere the other day, which I don't particularly agree with. There goes Simons. So Simons did go there. All right, of course he did, because that's what I mentioned. Not that I wanted him. Podjemski, 98. Reasonable. Tari Eason's sliding quite a bit here. Oh, there goes Kevin Porter, which I would have liked. Oh, the other name for me to consider here is Drew Holiday. So let's just throw him in the queue. Dante DiVincenzo can also work for me because we're getting to 107 and 110 as my picks. Norman Powell. Oh, there goes my queue. Let's throw Reed Shepherd in there. Let's throw Dante in there. Powell at 100. I really want to pick Tari Eason, but I got to get a guard. CJ, I think, will be pretty good here. The worry, of course, with him is the end of the season. Bro, how? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? CJ just goes, by the way. Then goes Nick Claxton. Again, and can someone take Eason? Thank you. And can someone take John Collins so I don't just take them there, even though I don't need them and they make no sense for my team? That would be really helpful. Far out. Drew Holiday just goes. Now, what do I do? There goes Superman, Kal-El Ware, who I don't think he's going to start. He was really good last game, but it is worth remembering. When you see big games, like he had 18 and 13 in preseason, right? He had 36 usage, which is just not remotely close to anything he will do. Derek Lively, I think that's a little early on him, but now it gives me the chance to take my guard. Who is my guard? You might ask. Maybe you don't ask, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Well, I'm not, because I don't really know who it is yet. Is it... Am I raguing here? Let's take Dante. And then I think what I'll do... is... I don't know. Mathurin, I think. Scott Pippen. Whew, that's early for Pippen. As much as I do think Pippen's an interesting player and there's an opportunity without Morant, I would not do it this early. It's way too early for me. Way too early. John Collins, man, just the absolute... Like, do I just do it? Of course. Well, at least I don't have to make the decision on whether I'm doing it because he just got taken. Let me... Yep. Keegan Murray would be a good pick here as well, but let's just take the guard. Let's just take Benny Math, and let's figure out the other spots later. I wonder what people would do with the Charlotte center spot where Diabate started last game, but I do think the big cock Ryan Kalkbrenner will be interesting. I'm going to throw Isaiah Jackson in there as well. And Nemeash Cater. Another guy that I'm getting interested in is Noah Clowney. I thought he looked awesome in there last game. And honestly, like, surely you've got to find a way to start him over Zaire Williams, surely. But maybe not. Zach Edey, good pick from you, Şengün. If he wasn't hurt, we would have gone way earlier than that. Then goes Herb Jones, which was also a strong pick. Toby Harris still around. Aaron Gordon, Keegan Murray. There's some solid players in this area. Aaron Gordon just went. We are also getting into Santi Aldama territory, although his value will fade as the season goes on. There's the thick hogsman, Toby Harris at 114. It's really hard to fault that sort of pick. That's a really strong value pick. Another name I'm going to throw into the... McConnell at pick 10. What are we doing? Timothy John. I know you might be desperate for assists, but pick 10, man. That is a starter for you. I don't think so. I don't get that at all, really. Jabari Smith. Wow, this is an interesting draft. Jabari Smith in round 10. I know he's going to start, but, like, really? I don't know. Not a bad one. Like, flyers I can take here. Devin Vassell will make some sense for me as well. I'll throw him into the queue. I'm sure he won't last for me. Reed Shepherd, Jaden Ivey, Santi Aldama, Jalen Suggs at 117. fine. I hate Suggs in the 80s. I like him there. I'd love to get an update on if he's actually playing or not. We're also going to talk 20-point upside potential guys. Cameron Whitmore. He's just going to get queued up there for me. Malik Monk also should start to be considered, and I'm surprised no one has taken Steph Castle as of yet. It won't be me, but I'm surprised no one else has. Okay. So my starters are all filled. We're grabbing flex or bench guys. Ooh, Eldama. Okay. Aaron Neesmith also a little bit of a cheeky option around this spot. He won't be one of the guys that I'm targeting. I still do need another guard. So I want Vassell, Shepherd, or Ivy when it comes back to me. Well, I won't get Vassell because there he goes. There goes Isaiah Jackson. So we just talked about that before about the flyer centers. Does this set off a Cater, Huff, Diabate, Kalkbrenner run? Filipowski. Oh, Keontae George is going to stick in my queue too. I believe Keontae's got a decent chance to start. Well, there goes Jaden Ivey, which is annoying. There goes also Bilal Coulibaly, who I would not have taken there at all. Not interested. This is not fantastic pick. Bro, how bad is Kuzma, man? He was terrible yesterday again. I don't think he's going to start for that team. I'm going to throw Oubre in the queue. I don't think he's going to start for Milwaukee, honestly. Davion's got to go in my queue, not Brook Lopez. I've had people ask me some crazy questions on Lopez. Do I take him in round 9? Like, no. What? Absolutely not. Schroeder, 125. Filipowski, 124. I don't think he's going to start. I believe it's going to be Hendricks. I could be wrong on that. So guys, Filipowski, Schroeder, Shepherd, Scoot, Hunter. So I wanted Shepherd or Ivy, and they're both gone. So that's clearly not good. There's a lot of flyers currently in my queue. There goes Jaden McDaniels. So, like, as much as I don't love him, is like, do I take Steph Castle here? I don't think so, but there goes Cam Whitmore. Okay, so, it's a little annoying. So many of my targets just disappeared there. Yeah, look, I don't love this, but do I take Oubre? Alright, I'm going to take Oubre there. And I'm going to take, I think, Davion on the flip back around. Or Keontae. Given the injuries there in Philly, also, Oubre's got upside for when George misses, which I've got both of those players too. Portis at 122. Yeah, that's totally reasonable. I'm very surprised that Monk and Castle have not gone yet. In fact, maybe Malik Monk's my easy pick here. Instead of Davion. I think it's probably... Yeah, look, we'll take Monk. I'm certain now that Amate K is going to take Malik Monk. Certain. Oh, he takes Old Milk, Ty Jerome. Let's take Monk. All right, we're good with that. I don't like Monk when he was going in the 80s at 134. Bang. Love it. Loved it. Love that for me. I got 2 picks left. I will probably be taking a flyer big man. So is that Cater? Maybe. Neesmith goes. Rock solid, I think, in that area. I also will take the look at a Keontae George or a Steph Castle. John Kuminga's an option for me too. Cason Wallace, good steals player. Not sure there's opportunity for him to do huge amounts more. I hope that there is, but I really doubt that. And the other one that I don't actually have in my queue yet, who I am drafting with a lot of last picks, is... Oh, no, he's in my queue. Nikola Jovic. I'm going to have a look in my leagues how many times I've drafted Jovic. Well, there goes Keontae George, so I guess I'm not doing that one. I actually only have him once, Jovic. I thought I had him more than once, but I've got him in a Roto league. Ricochet I've got in quite a few, so he just went, I think. Oh, there goes Jovic now. Okay, so I guess I'm not taking that guy. Daniel Gafford and Steph Castle being available, a little surprising to me. Ricochet, I've got in 2 leagues, a Roto League and a head-to-head categories league. Sam Hauser, then Jay Huff. All right, so we're getting the other center option there for Indiana. I'm a little, I was going to say, I thought Cater hadn't gone, but he's gone, so that's a fine. I was going to say, it's a little surprising to see Huff go ahead of Cater. The big Areola Concanipple goes off at 143. VJ Edgecombe will put into the queue. I don't really think he's going to be able to do enough to maintain a roster spot, but we'll see. I know there are some people looking at a Jalen Wells breakout. I'm not really sure that's possible. Adem Bona probably should be drafted. Taylor Hendricks, so just going to queue them up as well. Jago Gilman don't know that he'll be ready to start the season. And I don't know. I don't know that he'll be ready. So after Knipple goes Quentin Grimes on an auto pick for some reason. And then Brook Lopez. I get it, right? But what if he plays 18 minutes a night? Can easily see him just being a waiver wire play. Again, it is surprising to me. And I will do it if it comes to it. I will take Steph Castle with one of my last picks, but I don't like him at all. I'm pretty sure you're aware of that. But I am a little surprised to see him still sitting there. Keyshawn George, good pick. There's a lot of guys I'm still liking here as these late... Wells I'm not that interested in. 2 picks left. Some names that are surprising. Bub Carrington, Daniel Gafford. Well, there goes Kaminga. I am surprised Edgecombe is still available. Even Collier, I thought he would go by now. Mitchell Robinson. Also, a little surprising. Does Mitchell Robinson make sense for my team? You know what? A little bit. He makes a little bit of sense, although I don't like what it would do to my free throws. Bub Carrington, Wendell Carter. Ooh, I don't love the Wendell Carter pick. I might... Oh, there goes Castle, so I don't have to make that pick, but it is late. Bryce Sensabaugh. Very, very, very interesting flyer pick. And there goes Mitch Robinson, so I guess I'm not doing that one. VJ Edgecombe. So what do I do here? I might... God, I hate it. Ugh, I'll take Diabate, and I'm going to take Mitchell on the way back. Davion Mitchell. The Diabate one, I do think he gets overtaken by Kalkbrenner. But early on, I think Diabate gets that chance at it. Just gives me a nice rebound bump as well. Adem Bona, going to have good value early on as well. That's a solid pick. Gafford not drafted yet. He's going to be injured to start the season, it looks like. He could have been someone I picked there instead of Diabate too. No one has gone with the injured pairing of Kyrie or DeJounte yet. Amate K, do not... Oh, Hendricks he took. All right, as I said, don't take Davion. I'll just take Davion with my last pick. And we will see how the rest of this last round plays out. Yeah, I said this earlier. Like, I wouldn't be totally against having a little crack at Ryan Rollins here, just given Glenn Rivers' predilection to maybe mix and match a bit there. Especially if I took Kevin Porter, I would be a little interested in grabbing Ryan Rollins. So, after Dylan Harper goes Lonzo Ball, DeJounte Murray. Is worth noting, by the way, and I say this and I tweeted this out, and you may have seen it, but there's an article on ESPN about do not draft players for fantasy basketball, and it talks about DeJounte Murray, and about not drafting him because he was injured. I agree with that. But it also says that he tore his Achilles on New Year's Eve, which he did not. He tore it on January the 31st, which is a full month later, meaning that if they actually think that it was New Year's Eve, then maybe they're assuming some things a little differently. And I bring it up because it is more to the point. Just like be aware of what information you're reading and make sure it's actually accurate, because that's not. He did not tear his Achilles on New Year's Eve. It was January the 31st. 1 month difference, a big difference. After Kyrie goes Fanapants, Kevin Herter, Kaman Mawach, Yegor Dioman, and then Ryan Dunn with the penultimate pick. The final pick of this draft, is it the big cock? No, it is Jared McCain, which I would not have done. I would not have done that. I think there are plenty of other options available, but that is the draft. So this was me at pick 11, starting with Trae Young. I am pretty happy with how my team turned out. I went with Trae Young, Kevin Durant, Myles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Jakob Poeltl, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, Paul George, Dante DiVincenzo, Benedict Mathurin, Kelly Oubre, Malik Monk, Musa Diabate, and then finished it off with Davion Mitchell. That is my team in terms of projected standings, which I encourage you to take with a huge grain of salt because of weekly variance, injuries, my projections, all that sort of stuff. Number 1 was Alperen Şengün, followed by Game Over, followed by me, followed by this guy's name, who's I got in Josh's mock, and then he spelt Josh's wrong. And number 5 was Mossab, followed by Ishmak21. Who is Ishmak21? Oh, that guy there at number 9. So, interesting. Who was the first pick? P Money. Down the bottom. Game Over, pick number 2. All right. But the projected, results here are incredibly tight. The way that we projected on Draft Monster, it's me versus the second team is 4.5 categories versus 4.5, and then 4.4 versus 4.6. 4.5 versus 4.5, 4.6 versus 4.4. These are incredibly close. It's why when you're looking at projected standings, it uses very, it looks at the numbers that we projected. It goes, well, you have average 7.1 rebounds and your opponent averages 7.0. You win that category against him, you push up the standings. So when we introduced Draft Monster on Basketball Monster, we used more probabilities and ranges to give ideas, because if you are 7.1 and I'm 7, how often, are you going to beat me every single time? Of course not. It doesn't take much to vary that. Now, if you're a 7-rebound team and I'm a 4-rebound team, then you'll cook me every time, yes. But some of the old ways and some of the projected standings was just you have more, guaranteed win, which is very clearly not how that works. If you're watching this on the YouTube app, hit a thumb. Hit the hype. Scroll across on the comments to hit the hype button. Leave those comments. Subscribe and double bang audio, video, guys. We are done here. We'll probably have another mock today. We'll spin the wheel, see where we go. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.